I'm going to be completely honest, this is going to be a very different type of video from my usual content. I want this to be very raw, unedited, unscripted, and just very authentic. I know I talked in the last video about only seeing the highlight reel of other people's lives, and so I very much want to show y'all the dualities which exist in my human experience, just to make it a lot more real. Basically, to validate the dualities in my own life as well as y'all's, because I know that everybody experiences dualities in their life. And so I'm gonna be honest, today I didn't really get much done. I wasn't very productive. I was very much just rotting in bed, despite the fact that I originally had plans. I put them off for tomorrow, and I didn't do much of anything, and I was feeling very unmotivated. And I don't like using the word depressed because I don't like labeling my emotions. I feel like depressed is it's a very strong word, and you only feel that way so long as you tell yourself that you are. And so I try not to label my emotions as positive or negative, but I do try and experience them to the fullest extent in an attempt to honor them and to validate them within myself. It's the fact that these emotions exist and they're here, and they might be ugly, but it's okay because they're necessary for transformation. And so the only way that I was just consuming a lot. Basically, I was consuming a lot of information that was making it very, very hard for me to feel positive. And it's very hard right now for me. I'm going through this cycle of operating in like two different timelines simultaneously, and I'm kind of draining myself because of it. And I have to hold myself accountable for that, because in one hand, there's so much going on. I'm an activist, aspiring activist, you could say. There's so much going on, and I feel almost this compulsion, this weight on my shoulders to fix the world, even though she's cleansing herself. It's like I feel this overbearing responsibility, this duty that I have to life, to honor it and to be this humanitarian and this very strong, positive figure in people's lives, and to lead by example, and to just do all of these things. I hold a lot of responsibility. There's this where it's like I'm so worried about all of these things that are happening in the world, and all of these stories that I hear from other people, and then in the other hand, it's like a life leading with love and community. And it's hard. That's what makes it difficult, because I see so much love in the community, and then I also see so much ugliness out of the world, and I see them at the same time. And because of that, it's like I feel very torn with what direction I'm meant to be flowing in, only because again, they're operating at the same time. And so because of that, I've been feeling like very frustrated internally between where is it that I should be placing all of my energy into. Am I meant to be pouring into this optimistic mindset of, and I already do that. Like, I already am. There's this I've been studying a lot of James Baldwin lately, and not to go off topic, but I've been studying a lot of James Baldwin lately, his writings and his interviews and different things like that. And I found a new term which is called tragic optimist, which essentially is what I'm describing right now. You recognize a lot of the humanity and the beauty and the love in the world, at the same time as recognizing all of the destruction and all of, the things that come with capitalistic nihilism and colonialism. And you see all of these ugly, ugly things happening. And then you also see all of his beauty that exists within the world, all of his rebirth that's happening. And it's almost like I feel internally like I'm meant to honor both. Like, I can't be ignorant to a very ugly reality, but I also can't just be blissfully unaware of everything that's happening either. Like, there's this balance. Essentially, I'm just trying to find the balance. I'm trying to find the way in which they mesh, and how it is that it works for me, and all of that. And I'm just making it up as I go along. And at times that can be a lot of pressure, because again, I feel a lot of pressure internally from these responsibilities that I feel like I hold, just because of the person that I am, the being that I am, and the fact that I feel like I'm meant to be this monumental figure. At the end of the day, I'm sharing all of this because I know that if I'm feeling this way, then I can't be the only one, and I know for a fact I'm not the only one. But because I've been isolated in my room, in my space, it's just, you hear, it's like an echo chamber. You hear a lot of just your own thoughts bouncing around in your mind, and you have no way to get them out or to share. And I don't want to go running to people and become dependent on other people to be there. All of this goes to say that the only way that you can really transcend your emotions, the only way that you can transcend your despair, is by not trying to downplay it, not trying to avoid it, not just trying to look past it, essentially, not just trying to, how is it that I can get rid of this? There's a lot of power that comes in recognizing it, identifying it, and knowing where it is that it's like its source within your body, within your spirit. Where is it that you feel this dense energy in? Exactly where, trying to pinpoint it, doing a body scan to try and figure out where it is that it's coming from. Like for me, it's coming from a lot of my solar plexus and my heart. It's these two specifically that I feel like, because again, it's me trying to find this balance in my reality. So again, I've been studying a lot of James Baldwin, and I've been taking notes on different things that stick out to me that I really, really want to implement. One of these things says, pain is not meant to be avoided or ignored, but to be embraced and understood. It's what connects us to being human. By acknowledging it and using the pain, you can transcend it. If I tell you what it is to suffer, perhaps you can suffer less. And I feel like there's a lot of truth in that, because as I heard those words of, if I tell you what it is to suffer, perhaps you can suffer less, I felt a weight lifted off of me, and I started crying. I'm not gonna lie, I did start crying from hearing that, because I realized all it takes to really start moving forward past these really dense emotions is identifying them, validating them, saying it's okay to feel frustrated, it's okay to feel anxious, but it's not okay to place suffering in our lives when it's unnecessary. For example, seeing very ugly information, finding out different things that are happening to different demographics of people, it's natural to feel emotional towards that, but you also have to recognize emotions is just energy and motion within your body, and you can't pour all of your emotions into it and just allow it to keep sucking and draining all of this energy and motion out of you for the next 24, 48 hours, however long that it is. Don't be ignorant to it. It's okay to educate yourself, but necessary suffering is what is required for growth. It's confronting these emotions head on. It's natural. It's almost like grief or the loss of something, where it's like it's natural to feel these emotions, and it's okay. It's okay. You validate them. But unnecessary suffering is whenever you inflict these emotions onto yourself in areas and periods of time where it's really not needed. It's not serving you or your higher self or anything. Like, example of that is, again, going back to, if you see these things and then it's 3 days later and you're thinking about the story that you heard from this woman who lives in another country all the way around the world, like, it's not a negative, or a positive. Like, don't label it, but if you recognize at times, try and catch yourself, try and be the observer of the emotion as soon as it comes up in your head. You have to kind of step out of yourself to be an observer of your emotions, which takes practice. You have to be willing to practice that in yourself, because becoming an observer is really whenever you're able to strengthen that skill in being able to recognize what is or is not necessary and unnecessary suffering. And suffering can be a very strong word, but you have to make it very it's almost like this concept in your head, things are very, very conceptual in the 3D. I feel like there's a lot of things that you'll never see, touch, smell, or feel, but you have so much knowledge of it to the point where it can be unhealthy. Not to say being knowledgeable is unhealthy in any way, shape, or form, but there's times when having too much knowledge, because having knowledge on things is just, it's simple nowadays if you're really seeking it, and that's only because we have access to so many sources of information all the time, constantly. If I want to know something, I can look it up and it's there. I can know anything if I really, really want to. It's that kind of thing. If I'm seeking the knowledge, it will find me. And that can be very, very good, but you have to be mindful of how much it is that you're taking in. For example, I've been studying a lot of revolutions and in history, and the rise and fall of different empires in history, and it's good to be educated and to know this is what the symptoms were before these empires fell, but it's not necessary for me to stress myself out of the fact that all of these symptoms are being reflected in this reality in this country that I live in right now. If you understand what I'm saying, I really pray that you understand what I'm saying right now, because it's so important, and it's going to be so important when it comes down to it, when more things start being pushed in our face. It's going to be so important that you're able to recognize and be very, very diligent with your emotional state and with your mindset, because all of these things that are being thrown at us, it's intentionally meant to drain us. Our energy is supposed to be scattered, because if it's scattered and we're just anxious and we feel unmotivated, then we're not going to be able to get organized and get anything done, And so the power really comes in discernment, and your discernment, and being able to see what it is that's going on, and see what it is that these things are attempting to do within your mind, because the mind is an extremely, extremely powerful weapon or tool. It can be used as either a weapon or a tool in the sense that you gain all of this knowledge, and this can further fuel your movements, but a weapon in the sense that it can also be the thing that tears down this movement. It can be the thing that divides people, these concepts that you get in your head. Again, it goes back to that whole, the 3D is very conceptual. You may never be able to see these things, but you have a very deep understanding with it, and it's just so big in your mind that it's almost like a demon that exists, even though you never see it, because your mind is creating this projection. Your mind, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's always going to be creating these projections within your reality. Because if you speak things over your life, if I was to be not as strong-minded as I am, and I was to have rot in bed all day and just stayed in my shower, the only reason why I was able to even get to here and now is because I decided to put my phone down. I took a very long shower in silence. Because if you're consuming back to back to back to back so much information, it's very hard to hear yourself again, and you lose a lot of that willpower and that motivation. This is all meant to be fuel for the activists, fuel for the artists and the humanitarians. Anything, if you don't label yourself as anything, and you're just somebody who if this resonates with you, basically, I'm praying for you. I hope that energy is reciprocated, and If it's anything that you want to tell me, if it's any questions you have further on anything, please do not hesitate to share them. You can comment, you can reach me on my socials, but I want you to know I am not going to be just a figure of your imagination. I want to create this community. I want to create a very strong, sound foundation for this community to really build with each other. I would not be sharing all of this with you right now if that wasn't my intention. It's difficult for me to be as vulnerable as I am, but it's necessary. Because, again, I know that there's other individuals that are feeling like this, that are probably afraid of being seen as vulnerable or afraid of speaking out, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the voice that does that, and if my voice is resonating with what it is that you want to say, please do not hesitate to let me know. Please, I beg you. It's important that we stop becoming so afraid of reaching others for help. I have to do it. There was people I was trying to reach for help, and I have no shame in that because I can't do everything alone. I can't carry the weight of all of my responsibilities that I feel like I owe to this world alone. I can't fix the entire world from one day to the next alone. It's going to be a very slow, steady process, and it's not going to be that instant gratification that we're so used to, and we have to accept that, and we have to move forward with that knowledge, with that knowing, and still be willing to see the good out of the world. Again, I'm an optimist at the end of the day. I always will be. And I know that because I say it and I speak it into my life. Because again, whatever you speak over your life, you're casting a spell over your life. And I don't mean it in the way that a lot of people think spells are cast, witchcraft or anything. It's just the fact that whatever you say, again, if I was to have rotted in bed all day and I started telling myself I'm depressed, I'm drained, that would have been my reality. It would have been, but instead I told myself, I know that I am not these emotions. I know that I'm not. I know it. I know what I am. I am not what these people want me to be. I am what I am, and nobody can ever fucking take that from me. That is my strength. I am a leader. I know this. And so I'm always going to be willing to be vulnerable with you guys and to be open to sharing my struggles and my triumphs and my stories and whatever it is, because that authenticity is what is ultimately going to lead us out of the darkness and into the light. And I choose to be a light in this reality. I choose not to create my own suffering and to feed into these conceptualized ideas of oh my gosh, the world is out to get me, in the world. No, it's not. It's shedding a lot of shit, sure. And that's necessary and that's okay. And I know it is. It's okay. And so the next thing that has to come after that, it's me. I have to be willing to shed it. I have to be willing to go through these very ugly cycles, and that doesn't mean that they're negative. It means that they're necessary. They are necessary, but what's not necessary is me creating my own suffering. And I hope that by you guys hearing me say this, you recognize the areas where you are or are not creating your own suffering, and you release that need to create, not that need to create, but you just recognize it for yourself, basically. Look inside of yourself. Reflect on it. I'm sorry if you guys keep hearing the bells. I put little bells on my ankles, which I got from my friend Infinity, and honestly, after I put these on, these just came in the mail today, I feel so much better. Oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Stop, put your phone down. Put your phone down, turn your TV off, create art, pick up a book, listen to frequencies, sit in fucking silence, shower in silence, please. Protect your sanity, because I wasn't doing it and I felt like shit, and now I feel 100 times better, and I do not want to get back on my phone. I do not want to consume anything else today. I embrace what is. I do not resist what is, but I do hold myself accountable for me placing things in my life that are not necessary. that I don't need to have. I create my reality with every passing moment. I create my reality, I create my reality, I create my reality. I am the creator of my reality, and I hope you guys know that you are the creator of your reality as well. We are the light beings of this earth. We are the hope. We are the love that exists in the world. I know that love exists everywhere in the world because I am a reflection of this love. I am a reflection of radical love. And again, I am a leader. And should you choose to be a leader, I encourage you to become a leader in your own life. Become a leader in your community. Use your voice. Use your voice. Really use your voice. Don't feel shame in being vulnerable or in sharing your truths or in reaching out to your peers and being in community, and never feel shame for that, because we're human. We're not meant to be these individual working robots. We operate better in community and in unity. Please honor that. Please honor that sense of humanity within yourself, because if we don't, then we're really gonna be fucked. But I know that that is not the way that the world is gonna sway. There's gonna be, again, those two distinct realities, and I choose to move into this higher reality, which is more aligned with what it is I actually want. Not what my mind thinks I want, but operating out of my heart space. What does my heart want? I know what direction I'm going. I know it. And I pray that by me saying that, you can know it for yourself too, in whatever ways that means for you. So, thank you for listening to me and my mini rant, slash motivational speech, slash TED Talk. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Again, don't hesitate to reach me if you feel compelled to. If you feel that calling, if you have any questions, I'm here. I'm here for you. I will support you. I will hold you. Don't think that you have to hold the weight of the world all by yourself, because there's a reason that there are other human beings on this earth, and it's not just you operating in this one reality. We all have to share the earth. We all have to share this reality, and I pray for you and your well-being and your mental health and all of that. I love you. I love you as I love myself, as the world loves me, as Source, Higher Source will always love me and protect me and care for me, as Higher Source does you. Thank you for allowing me to shine.